Question everything in pursuit of your purpose. Ask yourself, what if?
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we have with us
Kurt Woodard.
Kurt Woodard. Not just Kurt Woodard, but the. And Kurt is a local resident of Southeast Texas. He's also a veteran. Tell him a little bit about yourself, Kurt.
Yeah, so from Silsbee. Graduated from Silsbee High School in 1998. June, 3 days after graduation, I went to the Marine Corps boot camp. Found myself in the yellow footprints of San Diego, asking myself what in the heck I just gotten into.
Oh, right. Right.
And so funny story is that when I left for boot camp, I had the flu, like bad flu.
Wow.
And so I was staying the night in Houston at the hotel. I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do this, man. And sure enough, went out to boot camp. The first night there, we were changing our clothes and stuff and putting everything, all our civilian stuff in one bag, never to see again. And then putting on the green that is United States Marine Corps, green. And I'm sitting there, almost passed out, man. I had like 103 fever. Throat was killing me. I was like, what have I done, man? But so that's how I entered into Marine Corps boot camp.
Nice.
But yeah, went to the Marine Corps. I had all intents and purpose of doing 4 years, getting some money for college, maybe some direction. Had my friends that I hung out with in high school and stuff. They all went off to college. I knew that I'd probably party my butt off and not make it to the first semester. So felt like the Marine Corps was my calling. And for year 3, 9/11 happened. I was sitting in a bar in South Korea. Me and some buddies were about 4 drinks deep. And we looked on TV and South Korean news. We were watching 9/11 happen.
Wow.
It was around 10 o'clock at night over there, I guess, And it was so wild because at first we couldn't fathom that was really happening.
Right. Yeah.
We thought it was some
Like the rest of the world,
Right.
we all thought it was
Yeah.
like, is this a trick? Is this a movie trick? I mean,
Right.
what are we seeing right now?
Wow.
And, honestly, I thought it was a crappy Korean movie. Just because it was all, we couldn't understand it.
Sure.
And
Sure.
until everyone in the bar, there's only 4 of us there for my unit. And everyone in the bar just kind of stopped, like staring at us. And that's when we knew, it was like, oh crap, this is really going down. And
Oh, wow.
I knew right then and there, my 4 years was going to be a little bit further than that.
Yep.
And re-enlisted like the next week and blinked and retired 23 and a half years.
Wow.
Good night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
That's been the just. I mean,
Yeah.
Retired 4 years ago. Came home to Silsbee. It's been my home. That's been it. I've done a couple of small things here and there. I ran for city council in Silsbee. Just want to continue to serve the community.
Sure.
And felt like that was part of it.
Right. Well,
I'm
thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And even though it was unintentionally wasn't 3 and done, it was 23 and done.
That's right.
But thank you for answering the call.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. So anyway, back to some of the new endeavors, I guess.
Well, I was going to thank you for a life of service.
Yes,
You mentioned that you in the military for 23 years in the Marine Corps, and then now serving in public office. So now you've just made a life of being a public servant.
I feel like being service heart's my thing, and there's no agenda, no secret thing going on there. It's just, hey, I want to help our community.
Yes.
I want to be a voice for our community, and I want to continue to help our community any way I can.
Yeah.
Silsbee was there for the roughest parts of my career. The community was. Every time I would come home on leave from a combat deployment, my name would be plastered all over the signs, all over town, welcome home, and things like that.
That's amazing.
That's why I love Silsbee, just because it's such a small knit community,
Right.
and everyone loves everybody, and that's what makes it such a great town.
For sure.
And honestly, that's the only reason I wanted to run for city council when I retired, is to pay that back.
Right.
Pay
Wow.
their generosity to me and their what they brought me through,
Sure.
and so
That's a
that was
great
important to me.
testament. Thank you. Wow.
So for those of you who don't know in our audience, he's mentioning a town called Silsbee, Texas. That's spelled Silsbee. And it's a small town in Southeast Texas that was once a business epicenter
Mhm.
of Hardin County.
Yeah, it was a big in the paper mill out
Yes.
there, the
a lot
Kirby
of
Sawmill.
A lot of folks don't know, but it was also the original county seat
That's right.
of Hardin County.
That's where I was headed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said it. And it's also a big railway town.
Mhm.
Enormous presence of the railroad
Mhm.
industry, and the timber industry was huge. Still is a big part of Silsbee culture, but
Right.
it was a huge part of the financial history
Yes.
of Silsbee and of Hardin County,
Yes.
Texas. So
And now, well, for even decades, I guess even your car dealerships have served Southern East Texas. A lot of folks
Definitely.
come down and
Our car trading capital of Southeast
There
Texas.
it
Come on
is.
down to Silsbee.
Billy
Yeah.
Caraway, well, you can't forget that guy.
That's right.
He like marked several generations of us with that
Sure.
commercial.
Yes.
If you grew up in Southeast Texas and
Yeah.
you're from similar generational decades, you heard that
Yeah.
on TV
doubt.
constantly.
Yeah. But I do like your reference to just these folks being the salt of the earth, man. That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Silsbee has definitely left its mark on you.
Yeah.
And you are now endeavoring to leave your mark
Yeah.
on Silsbee as a servant.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point. It's not even to leave a mark. It's just to continue serving. I mean, like literally, that's all I want to do. And it's just whether it's in that capacity or whether just in a voluntary capacity, handing out food for the food bank monthly or whatnot, or Toys for Tots, which I'm huge in. Got retired. I got with a lady named Donita Banks, who is a community activist around Silsbee. Retired teacher. She started the Toys for Tots organization for Hardin County,
Okay.
which is actually ran through and governed by the Marine Corps Reserve.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
one of the oldest nonprofits in our nation.
Right.
And so over the last 3 years, we've helped over 5,000 kids have Christmas that
Wow.
probably wouldn't have. So
Wow. It's in nationwide.
No, you can-
you can count that in the millions. That's amazing.
when we started it 3 years ago, she asked me, I was working for All Pro Electric as a generator salesman. That was my first get my feet wet to civilian sales. And I was thankful my cousin Tom, and his business partner Nathan owned All Pro Electric in Silsbee.
Oh, okay.
They offered me the position. And I needed it. I needed something, and so I got my feet wet. And but she called me while I was working there, and she asked me, she said, "Hey, I need you." I said, "Okay, what do you need?" She goes, "I need you to be my logistics person for Toys for Tots."
Wow.
Now I knew eventually I would get involved in Toys for Tots some
Sure.
way, shape, or form, because as you rise up to the ranks, especially on recruiting, it's a big part of it.
Yes.
And so I said, "Okay," and we went to work, and we started out in one of the small fire substations. Before we knew it, we had McKinnis Construction. They donated a huge warehouse to us. And we went from a small little firehouse to a huge warehouse,
Wow.
to for our kids' toys.
Right. Right. And that organization, I know its distribution is around that late December time. But when do y'all start collecting?
All year.
All year.
It's a continuous effort. Typically the giving season starts from like 1 September until Christmas Eve.
Okay.
We like to give the toys out before Christmas, typically around the 20th or so December each year. But we collect all year long.
So is it kind of random, like you say, we're collecting for these ages and genders, or do you get some specific asks?
We do. When the families get to fill out the forms, all the schools have the forms, local schools that in Hardin County that want to participate. They'll send the forms home. The families will fill that out of what they're looking for. And that's kind of what we look at. And so, whereas when we're collecting, it's just, hey, all ages.
Mhm.
But when the collection comes, that's when the work begins. 'Cause you have to
Right.
sort everything, you
Right.
know, to age specific and all that stuff.
What's
so.
y'all's usual procedure for solicitation? You just kind of put it out in the mailers? Or
Yeah, no, I mean social media,
Okay.
you know, the Toys for Tots nationally runs a huge campaign on,
Okay.
you know, via commercial
Mhm.
and things like that.
Mhm.
And then, you know, that filters down to local level.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well, folks, if you celebrate the holidays like we do, we celebrate, you know, the birth of Christ like many do. But if you want to get involved with another avenue of giving, that's proven organizations. So
Absolutely.
look for Toys for Tots in your area.
And even more than that, what's the criteria for selection of recipients? Is there any particular
I mean,
criteria
no, there's
for
just,
that? Or
no,
they just need
the
to
family,
apply? Or
all they do is just fill out the form. You know, it could be.
where do they find the form?
It's from the school. You know, the school, their child will bring one home, you know, with
What
them.
if they don't have a kid? What if their kid is homeschooled? Or what if they're
Okay, all throughout the year, we very much, you know, put out there, hey,
Right.
you know, and give opportunities for people to collect,
Sure.
to get forms.
I suppose
So-
those are reasonable places where families would gather, like churches.
Sure, yeah,
or
churches are a big
scouts
thing.
and-
All the other organizations, like I know CASA helps us some, and different organizations around Southeast
Right.
Texas are
Right.
involved. So,
if you're out there and you come across this podcast and you've seen this episode to this point, and you are possibly in need or there's an opportunity to serve you, there's no shame in that.
Right.
Let
Yeah,
them serve
no.
you. They are blessed by being able to offer these blessings to you, your family, and your kids. And during the holidays, especially, let your kids be blessed through
Yes.
this.
Yes.
So if you have kids and you're in need, let them. Just let them. Find a way.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, find Toys for Tots. It's a worthy organization. They're not one of these outfits that has some billion-dollar CEO sitting back collecting big checks.
No. All volunteer.
This
All
is all
volunteer.
about, and it's all about the kids.
Right.
So if you want to get involved in help, get involved in help. It's worth your time. It's worth your energy, and it's worth a little bit of money. Go out and buy some toys and donate them. But if you're in need, let it be a resource for
Right.
you.
And can we go one step further? Are you guys looking for volunteers?
Always.
Yeah, beyond.
Always,
beyond
yeah. I mean,
Marine
especially
reservists, you know.
especially during
Yeah.
the season, you know, between September and December, we need people to help sort toys. We need
Can
people
teenagers
to
help with
think-
that?
Absolutely. Yes, high schoolers. Oh man, community service hours.
There you
Let's
go. That's what I'm hoping to
Let's
hear.
go. In fact, we had the government class and student council from Silsbee High School come help us out this year.
Nice.
Some Lumberton High School students
Yes.
have helped us out. So
All right. So if you're a club sponsor, if you're a coach, you're looking for something to get your kids just kind of broaden their horizon a little bit,
Absolutely.
look for Toys for Tots in your community.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
That's
yes.
awesome. And thank you for your involvement in that. Thank you for serving in yet another aspect
Yeah.
for our community. Kurt, where were you born?
Beaumont, yeah, in St. Elizabeth Hospital.
Saint, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Silsbee, born and raised. My dad, my family have been in the school district for a long time. My uncle was the head coach in Silsbee for years, many years, and my dad coached there for 38 years.
Oh my word.
You know, and
Okay.
so Silsbee's home, man.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So your coach's kid.
yeah, yeah.
Were you an
yeah.
athlete?
Yeah, I was, and not a great one, but yeah, I played
What was your favorite sport?
football.
Football.
Yeah. Football and baseball. You
Right,
know.
right.
Grew up playing little league and all the things,
Sure,
and just like most Southeast Texas kids, and
Yeah.
you know, football was huge in our house. So obviously,
Absolutely.
that was the game. So
Yeah, if you grew up in a coach's house, a lot of times coaches will have a sport. Everybody helps with football down here.
oh yeah,
Yeah, you may have tennis, but you're going to be carrying a clipboard in football.
football is next to church in
Yeah,
Southeast
pretty close.
Texas.
That's right.
There's
Yeah.
church, God, and then football.
And then football. That's right.
Most all the Friday Night Lights movies
Yes.
are from Texas.
All from
Yeah.
Texas. That's right.
Or TV shows, or
Right.
We Are Marshall. All that
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
I've never
Texas.
heard of a show about a high school football team in Michigan.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? It
Right.
just doesn't happen.
Not, yes.
Or almost anywhere else.
Right.
That's right. That's right. And honestly, if you're a college football follower, a lot of those northern schools recruit down here.
Sure.
Of
That's
course.
been going on for
Well,
years.
Texas, Florida, California, those, Georgia, they've all over the years they've really come out of swinging as far as their prospects go. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, how about that, man? Coach's house.
So how many siblings were there with you growing up?
Just my brother. I had one brother. Parents got divorced. I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
Both remarried a little later, and I gained 2 stepbrothers from my stepmother's side, and I gained a stepbrother and a stepsister from my stepdad's side.
Okay.
So,
I like the way you said that.
I do too.
I gained.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Well, I got this or I got that."
I gained.
A lot of people see the step family
Right.
in a negative light.
That's
well,
right.
I
like the way
wouldn't
you
say
said
it was
that.
all sunshine and rainbows,
Well, of course
but
not.
but at the end of the day, though, like they both remarried, and they both have been married now to the person they remarried longer than they were married to each
Oh,
other.
wow.
Of course.
And
So they
so
found happiness.
and they're
That's
both
good.
happy,
Yeah.
and so that happiness filtered everywhere else into the family, and so we had a close family.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I like that. A lot of people use the word bonus when they think of that.
Sure.
Bonus
Absolutely.
parents, bonus siblings. So there you go.
Plus, as a kid, the extra Christmases weren't too bad either. Let's face it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nice.
We're going to go to both our houses. You're like, yes,
That's right.
winning. Now we know where that Christmas spirit came from. That's awesome.
So you mentioned you went into the Marine Corps.
Yep.
23 years in there. How were grades for you in school, like high school and everything?
Decent. I was an average student, C, B, A student. I took honor classes. Definitely wasn't in the honor society by any means, but was a good high C, B honor student. You know what I'm saying? And
Real
so,
solid.
Yes, yes. I definitely didn't apply myself the way I should have in high school. Felt like it was bored to me. It was boring to me. I could not wait. He's a young guy. He's a young kid from a small town. Like if you have dreams, you can't wait to get out of that.
Yeah.
You can't wait to get out of that little bit. And I was like, man, I cannot wait to get out of Silsbee. And boom, I left 3 days after graduation, and then here I am. Yeah, I could not wait to get back home after
Right.
that.
Isn't that
Yeah.
fascinating?
Yeah.
So many people, just like you said, they come from a small town, and when they're growing up in their later teenage years, all they can
Right.
think about, like you said, I got to get out of this town.
Right.
I don't want to get stuck here.
Right.
And as soon as they leave,
Mhm.
more often than not, I got to get back home.
That's right.
Yes.
I want to go back
Yeah.
to the home, the
Yeah.
town that loved me home.
Right.
And
Right.
man, I love to hear that.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's like it's in your DNA. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe you could speak more to the. I don't know any statistics, but I have military people in our family, and some of them came home, but some of them landed in like they just stayed where their deployment was. Like if
Yeah.
they were assigned to some fort or some base in maybe Florida, and that's just where they live now.
Sure.
But I would like to think most of them can make their way close to home.
I was going to say that the closest I came to ever even thinking about that was in North Carolina. That's where I spent a lot of my career.
Oh,
and
yeah.
on the Outer Banks area.
Mhm.
Man,
It's
It's-
beautiful.
if I could transplant Silsbee to around Swansboro, North Carolina, I would, man.
Right,
But,
right.
I had my daughter though, and she was back here, and I'll be honest, like that was my big reason for retiring.
For sure.
We divorced in 2018, and they came back to Texas, which so I started flying home once a month to see my daughter.
Mhm.
And COVID happened. And during COVID, I was the recruiter sergeant major in the state of New Jersey, and I was flying home to see my daughter once a month, which wasn't enough to begin with,
Mhm.
but a week in a month. But that's all I could manage at the time. COVID happened, and they put the restriction in place where military members could not take leave whatsoever.
Oh,
And
man.
so, and here I was in the continental United States, up in New Jersey, which was one of the epicenters of it. It was the buffoonery up there was absolutely crazy.
Mm.
And I couldn't go home to see my daughter.
Mm.
Meanwhile, the average American, even though they probably were encouraged not to, they could get on a flight anytime they wanted to and go anywhere in the
That's
nation they wanted to.
terrible.
Wow.
So having to swallow that, and this organization is supposed to care about me so much and to want to help me out so much, tells me when and where I can see my kid when I'm not deployed, I'm not in combat, I'm right here in the
Right.
continental United States.
Right.
that to me, that was like the beginning of the end. I was like, no,
Yes.
this is kind of tick, tick,
Right.
pack is coming
Right.
off. It's time to do something else.
Yeah, if you do
So,
the math, if you graduated, if you went in 98, you were, because you're in 23 years,
Sure,
you were getting right. It was like, well, if we're going to press the end, I think
Yeah.
y'all just helped.
that's right. That's right.
Wow.
So-
man. What? That's terrible. I didn't. I
Yeah,
guess
I
if
mean, it
knew
is what
that,
it
I
is,
forgot
but-
that was those restrictions were put on
Yeah,
you
for
guys.
4 months. Anyways, that time frame, we were stuck. Couldn't go
Wow.
anywhere. Couldn't do anything. So
Right.
yeah, it's like force protection. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Forced
How
protection.
old was your daughter at that time?
4.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
So she's 4. Yeah, it sucked.
That's a
there was no getting around the suck
I
factor.
mean,
Yeah.
obviously, a lot of our facial technology took off, Zoom and all that. Hopefully, y'all were able to at least talk.
We were FaceTiming daily,
Yeah.
so FaceTime was a big thing. But she was also 4 years old. So the FaceTime time span of a 4-year-old
Yeah.
is about
Yeah.
that.
we were FaceTiming my grandson at the time. He lived in Austin, and we're down in Lumberton near your Silsbee folks. But anyway, he set the phone up, or his mom would said like pop it on some books or a desk,
Sure.
and he's just running around the room. I could hear him, but he had no clue to come look at we had to call him, come look at the phone, look at the camera, and he would come for a second, and then he'd take like he was about 4. So I feel you. It was a little frustrating, but it was sweet to hear his voice, I guess. Yeah.
That's a huge ask of service members
Yes.
to spend that much time completely separated.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
And then I was kind of
Yeah.
not all service members are like my situation. Everyone's situation is different. A lot of them had their families there, they were
Mhm.
together. So it
Right.
really didn't affect them very much.
I got you.
It was only kind of the outliers like myself and some other guys who had families who
Right.
lived
Right.
elsewhere.
I mean, not to be dramatic, but you might as well have been in the Middle East. you
Sure.
know,
I mean
because,
that's how I felt like.
Yeah.
They treated us. It was almost like a deployment.
yeah.
And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This is not my cup of tea anymore.
Right. Right.
So, what was your job description in the Marine Corps?
I did everything, man. I was started out in the infantry, your door kicker type, and I did that the majority of my career. Most of my combat deployments were in the infantry. Spent time on Capitol Hill. I was liaison to the U.S. Senate for 3 years. Got to travel all over the world with U.S. senators and be a fly on the wall at some really cool meetings in different places, and got to convey the Commandant of the Marine Corps' legislative priorities to members of Congress.
Okay.
And so that was our job, basically, was to be a lobbyist for the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps does not like you to say that at all.
Right.
They're like, no, you're not. But yeah, I mean, that's what we did. We
Right.
we were making friends on Capitol Hill to push the Commandant of the Marine Corps' legislative policies.
Yes. Yes.
That's literally what a lobbyist does.
Wow.
Yeah. And so,
Wow.
Well, honestly, if you're going to have a legitimate lobby, that would be one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody lobbying for the branches of the military,
Yeah.
I would see that as a justifiable
Sure.
endeavor.
sure.
I mean, it's not like you're lobbying for corporate interest
Right.
or a profiteer,
Right. Like
ideas.
the usual lobbyists.
Yes, you're not lobbying for a pharmaceutical company
Right.
to protect their profits of making money off of cancer patients or something like
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing.
I'm not
Absolutely.
perfectly sure how it's organized, but I do know just from meeting folks through the years, like at the Pentagon, there's contingents from every branch, and that's all they do is they just, I hate to use a cliche, but they play war games.
Sure.
If something breaks out here, the group of people already has a plan for that portion of the world. So I presume that the commandant has all these advisors who say, well, this is, these are coming technologies, these are coming needs. So now somebody's got to go out there and present it,
Sure.
because he can't go everywhere. So that
Oh,
was
yeah.
seemed
Yeah, we
like a
were,
job.
we were given tasks, things that we needed to work on, and I mean, a lot of my job was logistics. I did a lot of the coordination for all the senators' trips and things like that.
Yeah.
Every branch of service had a liaison office, though, on the Senate and for the Senate side and also the House.
Okay.
And so, but oddly enough, and what was really cool was the Marine Corps was the only branch of service that had an enlisted member in the office. So I was literally the only enlisted member of
Wow.
all the services that worked right there at the Senate.
The rest were all
So,
officers.
yeah. So
Look at you,
it
man.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was in Afghanistan, and I had just done 2 back-to-back deployments. I was on the ship, and we were all over in 2011 when Benghazi happened and that sort of thing. And then I'm sorry, that was 2012, but I guess it was 2011 when where was Tripoli? Where was Benghazi? I just had a brain fart, man.
Yeah.
Where's
Okay.
in Benghazi? What was the country?
Libya.
Libya. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So Libya had just kicked off in 2011.
Yes.
They had no. So we were sitting there cutting grid squares off of the coast of Yemen area, doing contingencies in case a plane went down in Libya or something like that. And we were on ship going all over the world, just doing different training missions with different militaries.
Mhm.
Got back from that, and like 4 months later, jumped on an advisor team mission to Afghanistan. And so I just done 2 back-to-back deployments. So I sent an email to our monitor, which the monitor is kind of the guy up top that places people, kind of like talent management, in the Marine
Okay.
Corps, right? And so I'd emailed him, and I was like, hey, what do you got that's going to keep me competitive for promotion? But maybe keep me landlocked for a little bit. Yeah. So I just done
Off a
2
ship.
back-to-back. Yeah. And I didn't hear anything back from him. And typically, that's not a great thing. It's like, oh, crap, I'm about to get some travel and adventure somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Which are too cold, too hot? Too
That's
something?
right.
Yeah.
And so I got an email back from a monitor who was the National Capital Region's person who said my name was thrown in a hat with some other guys for this job, and had to fly to Kandahar and do a video teleconference with this colonel in DC, and ended up getting selected. And when they selected me, I was like, man, are you guys sure?
Me?
I don't know if you want me to do this. I'm not the typical guy you should probably put on Capitol Hill,
Oh,
right?
my word. That's awesome.
Especially at that point in my career. I was
Yeah.
pretty I was young and full of I was full of piss and vinegar, man.
Right.
Yeah, I was a
right.
gunnery sergeant and multiple combat deployments and recruiting duty under my belt, and so I knew how to talk to people, but I also had the combat experience from both Iraq and Afghanistan, and
Yes.
that's kind of what they were looking for.
I see.
So
Yeah. So you had some resume.
sure.
That's good.
Did that, and from there, actually got selected to the rank of first sergeant. Went down and was in charge of some logistics for a little bit. Did for a logistical unit. Did a deployment, 9-month deployment to Romania. We had guys spread out all over Eastern Europe to deter Russian aggression.
Sure.
We had guys. We went into Ukraine, did some training, Latvia, Poland, Norway, Bulgaria, all those cool places.
Yeah.
And that's what was cool about being in charge of them all. Is I had guys spread out all over the place.
Right.
I mean, I had to go see them all. Right.
Ah.
So,
you got to-
it's a lot of moving around.
Sure. So you got to see some places you might never have seen.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And a lot of those European countries are just
Oh, it was
gorgeous.
awesome.
Norway.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Well, I was there for spring, summer, and then into
Oh.
winter. The winter was not very fun,
Right,
but
right,
yeah,
right.
I'm not a cold weather fan, but
Right.
the summer times were awesome.
Yeah, I know we have that era in our 20th century, which is we call the Cold War. It really never ended.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still a viable adversary. We'll call it that. I wouldn't say enemy, but definitely an adversary in a lot of ways.
What a lot of people don't understand too, especially in those Eastern European countries, like for instance, Bulgaria. When they were under communism, Bulgaria is a very agricultural centric country, and so when they were under communism, their farmers were subsidized by the government, so they were all farming, gave their stuff to the government, they got paid, and that was that. Now in a free market society, all of a sudden all these farmers are having to compete against each other.
Mhm.
Now farmers are going under, this, that, and the
Right.
other.
Right.
And they realized, hey, it's tough to be successful in a free market society.
Yes.
And they felt like a lot of farmers felt like they lived better under communism than they did under free market society.
Wow.
So they didn't like us a whole lot, man.
Mm.
We didn't get over there. It was
Thought about that.
it was a lot of side eye we would get everywhere we would go.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
it was,
they were in a system that seemed to work
sure.
for them.
that's right.
Even though we understand
It worked for some of them.
some of
Right,
them,
right,
even though
right.
capitalism is still, your greater potential for wealth and all that.
100%. Yeah.
But they probably were hard to convince of that.
It was interesting to see the geopolitical aspect of things.
Sure,
They don't realize people don't realize watching Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or whatever the nuts and bolts and in the weeds of things.
The truth on the
The actual
ground.
truth on the ground. That's
Right,
correct. And
right.
so you hear what they want you to hear.
Right.
And
Right.
so
I love that you said that because
I do
I
too.
say that, we say that all the time.
Mhm.
What we're told is not the truth.
sure.
Yeah.
We're told pieces of
Pieces,
truth to
that's
manipulate our thoughts and our
100%.
direction.
Right. Right.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love
So-
love the experiences that you shared through that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you saw it. I know we see it a lot. The way that things are presented, the language that's used is so if somebody does come back and maybe they're trying to confront it like that's not true, that's a lie. They go, oh no, we didn't say that. We actually said this.
Yeah.
Even though, and of course, it's just a portion of the whole story, and all used to television.
Right.
That's what they're doing, friends.
Yeah.
So
ratings.
that's right. They're trying to create a vision for you.
So of all the places that you went, what was your favorite place?
But, everyone always asks me that. I've been to so many. I think I've been to 34 different countries when I counted last. And
Wow.
of all the places I've been, most beautiful, I'd say, was Thailand. Just the beach, the tropical atmosphere, and the people there, the food, everything was it was awesome. As far as, that was the most beautiful. I was stationed in Hawaii my first 4 years, man. So I really got, I guess, spoiled when it came to like beaches and things like that. So now I go down to Crystal Beach. I'm like,
what is this?
what is this?
This is not a beach.
Yeah, right.
Or they drop you in the desert with a bunch of rocks
That's right.
and crazy bugs that only exist in Iraq or Afghanistan. You think, bring back Hawaii, man. Come on.
And honestly, though, like I love the desert, man. The Mojave Desert's one of my favorite places. It's so beautiful out there, and the sunsets and the sunrises and all the things that you can do outside. It's hot in the summertime, but it's a dry hot.
Yeah.
It's nothing you can't, like, it's not unbearable, but
that's fascinating.
That is. I didn't think
I love being outside anywhere though. But tropical environments were always good. Thailand was beautiful. The desert was always good. Most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen was in Afghanistan, coincidentally,
Really?
So it's just, it's hard to put a finger on one spot,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to follow up on that, what's your least favorite place?
South Korea. I'll be honest with you. Like,
what was bad?
And just because the training aspect of it, we were as coldest I've ever been in my life, man. I remember sitting on a hilltop around Christmas time, 2002 time frame, and we were on a training mission. We were in the defense position for 3 days on this hilltop, and the South Korean Marines were supposed to come and notionally attack us, and we were in 2-man fighting positions for those 3 days. And I don't remember the temperatures back before you could just check on your phone and stuff like that. But man, it was so cold. Our canteens had frozen.
Wow.
I mean, you can't start a fire. So we were having to put our canteens at the bottom of our sleeping bags to warm them up to thaw them out.
Wow.
That was making my sleeping bag freeze. I think I may have felt my feet for 3 of the 8 days we were out in this field operation.
Wow.
But needless to say, I was like, okay, I'll chalk that one up as a do not vacation.
That's interesting. I'm reminded there were a few guys that I churched with as a young guy. They were Korean War veterans.
Sure.
And some of them went over winters, and they said,
some of the hardest men I've ever met in my life are Korean War veterans, man. I'm telling you.
That's right. That's right. And they don't get a lot of recognition for everything they went through over there. But he said the winters were horrible. Like you didn't have enough blanket. The winter gear really wasn't prepared. I mean, it was really something, and they were typically, they weren't like at a rear unit or a MASH unit. I mean, they were in the field, and it was quite, so yeah, there's your stories.
Yeah.
This is what our military does all over the world for us, friends. This is what they do.
So you spent more than 2 decades in the service of your country. You left your home. I'm going to say this, and you can correct me however you like, but you went through the unfortunate experience of divorce. Probably had no small influence from your military service impacting your family relationship. When you exited the military, what was that transition like? I mean, you've been out now for several years,
almost 5 years now.
And so I want you to speak to how did the military prepare you for that exit?
I'll be honest and blunt with you. They did it.
That
they 100% didn't. I went through a 2-week class to or month-long class to resume writing, this, that, and the other, but it didn't help, man.
Wow.
You know, and I'll be honest that the transition has not been the easiest.
Mhm.
You know, I've struggled. Struggled in all aspects of my life. And I'll just be very open kimono. I don't mind talking about it. You know, I've got post-traumatic stress syndrome. I've got traumatic brain injury from being blown up multiple times. And I didn't really realize the things I'd been through or really have time to start unpacking everything I'd been through until I got out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so not only am I getting out and one day in charge of all these people and then one day just not, or being the go-to guy one day and just one day not, now you have time to sit with your thoughts, right? Start thinking about everything that you've been through. Start thinking about, you know, good, bad, ugly, and just playing Monday morning quarterback on it, right?
Right.
And I think that's the bad. That's when things can start to unravel.
Sure.
If you don't have a good support system in play. All I did, my family's amazing. You know, my family is, I'm so close to my family. I'm so grateful for everyone in them, in my family, because they have literally saved my life.
Yes.
You know, but it was not easy. You know, I found myself, I couldn't find work. You know, I've got a business degree that I got while I was in between deployments, between, you know, field ops. I would take a class here and there, and all of a sudden it all added up. And I finally got my degree before I retired, which was important to me.
Yeah.
So I felt like having 23 years of leadership experience, an executive level leadership at that point, you know, a business degree would make me marketable. You know,
That's pretty good forethought.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you'd think, right? And so had a solid resume, you know, built out, you know, I was ready to take on the world, you know, not that easy,
Right.
you know, not that easy.
Right.
When you couple sitting with your thoughts and the things you've been through now multiple no's for different jobs and rejections from this, or, oh, you're overqualified. Oh, you're underqualified. I'm so sick of being told I'm overqualified for a position. I got to start somewhere, man.
That's right.
I've got to start somewhere.
That's
And I'm humble enough to start from where I need to,
Right.
to build something, but just give me a chance.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
so sadly, all those no's started taking a toll on me. I figured, oh, I'll just start working for myself.
Okay.
You know, not knowing anything in business other than my degree I took 10 years to get. Yeah. Thought I knew everything about that as well, and then I didn't. Definitely made some mistakes there. I trusted the wrong people on multiple occasions. Put me in significant financial hardships. So you couple that on top of everything I'd been through, on top of the transition, on top of the rejection, on top of now the being taken advantage of seemingly, you know, from different aspects. And now I find myself in a significant financial hole. And that's when things really start to unravel, you know, and start hanging out with the wrong people, start doing things I didn't want to do. There were substance abuse issues at times that I struggled with. I'm not proud of. You know, I look here now, I'm just being very open kimono about this, you know, because I feel like accountability is important. Right?
Yes.
Indeed.
It's rough.
I'm proud of you, man.
I am too.
Taking accountability for your actions, knowing I let my family down, I let myself down. God, decisions I was making, the things I was doing, wasn't me.
Yeah.
Wasn't Kurt Woodard. I let myself go. I think the biggest thing that happened is I was mad at God, and I did not, and I shied away from God. When I shied away from God, and when I put my religion on the back burner, my relationship with Jesus on the back burner, my whole life unraveled. The downward spiral began, and I felt like there was no way out. You know, and so only until my brother, one of his friends, you know, they took me, and we prayed together one day, you know, and it changed my life. You know, since then I've completely changed everything about my life, every aspect. and I've completely given my life to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to continue to do.
Right.
So Kurt Woodard moving forward with the rest of his life,
Mm.
I want to be in service.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help. I want to help people in my community. I want to outreach. I want to do the things that I know God put me on this planet to do.
There you go. Wow.
I want to give you some encouragement, Kurt.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned about your daughter, and that's what those are there for.
Mhm.
You mentioned about your daughter, and what you're getting to show her is that a real man takes responsibility for his life,
Mhm.
even though you may go through some difficulties, some trials.
Sure.
Life's not perfect,
Right.
and it's okay as long as you take control,
Absolutely.
you take accountability and responsibility,
Right.
and you keep going.
Yeah.
And you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're showing her
Right.
what a real man does.
Yeah.
You're choosing to be a man, and you're choosing to be her dad in the process.
Mhm.
And you're living
Right.
a perfect example. There's nothing like,
That's right.
I just want you to know there's no shame in this
Mm-mm.
at all. In fact, there's enormous possibilities for gratitude because you're on the other side now.
Sure.
Right.
And I think that's what I get emotional about it because I
Yes.
know like how free my heart is right now.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Beautiful.
saying? Like truly, I was sitting in church last night. We are midweek Tuesdays at Parkway Life in Lumberton. Great church. If you guys
Yes.
don't have a church home, I highly encourage you guys to visit.
Nathan and Adina do really well.
Oh man, Nathan, he's so awesome.
Yeah.
I
He's a heck of a
remember
painter too.
painter. Is that what you
Yes,
said?
he's an
No.
artist. He really is.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
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 I'll have to share some pictures with you of some
For sure.
paintings and
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it completely changed my life, my aspect. I know now, like in my heart, where I will never go again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's a part of me, and I chalk that up as a think, kind of a life lesson,
Yeah.
right? Just to add to the lessons. But I'll be honest, man, I'm kind of tired of learning lessons. I feel like I know we always are, right?
So what's
No,
it is, but what's the best way to keep learning lessons is to be a teacher.
sure, no, that's
Because
absolutely
all
correct.
teachers are learners.
Sure,
And so and that's what you do. You're giving, that's part of the giving back and the serving.
Yeah.
So you're still learning lessons. I'm
Yeah.
just learning it under a different guise. That's awesome.
you got back to not to rewind or take it back,
No,
but
you're fine. dude.
one thing that kind of led to that downward spiral, I felt like, is I had a hard time saying no.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm a servant's heart. And so when people ask me to do stuff, I feel the need to do it.
Right.
And so I was involved in so much in my community, man. I was on the president of the Silsbee Little Theater Board. I was on the Silsbee Education Foundation. I was on the Chamber of Commerce Board.
Mm.
I'm like a member of City Council,
Mhm.
and I was doing Toys for Tots. And so I was all these things.
Mhm.
It was just overwhelming.
Right.
I finally had to just pull the
Right.
plug on most of them and just
Right.
take a step back and be like, hey, I've got to focus on myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't
so-
give people what I don't have.
Yeah,
Or I can
yeah.
only give what I do have.
Sure.
But some of that, though, being the yes guy, that's a bit of an occupational hazard because when you're in the military,
Sure.
you don't get to say no.
That's right.
You get an order, you go.
Yeah.
And so,
And I think,
maybe that's one thing we could teach these guys transitioning.
Absolutely.
Into, like,
Say no.
You can say no.
You can say no. Yeah.
Boundaries.
Definitely say no.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Boundaries are huge. And I will say that trusting people.
Yes.
One of the biggest lessons I learned because for 23 and a half years, I could literally trust every person to the left or right of me.
Yeah.
There was never a question if I trusted somebody or not.
Right.
And so when you're trusting for so long and you get out, you expect that to be the same way in civilian life. And sadly, it's just not.
It's not.
There's people out here that just don't have good intentions.
That's right.
Civilian life's
and-
full of
and-
insurgency.
Sure.
Yes.
There's a lot of very selfish people out here.
There are.
And so
So most of the military folks, especially the those that had deployments, I'm sure you will reiterate what they told us, privately. It's like, you may get a general overview of the general mission, but when it comes down to execution, it's the guys that are in my my immediate group.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm really fighting, and yes, I may be taking lives and doing things, but I'm not doing it, for the greater mission. I'm doing it for that guy.
Right.
Because if I do my job, that guy gets to go home.
Sure.
And then, maybe that's in part of y'all's, unspoken training. I don't know.
So that's why politics never played a part into what we were doing either.
Yes.
Because while we're in it and you're downrange, no one cares if you're Republican or Democrat or what your thought is on one single issue.
Right.
Because all we cared about is our guys left and right of us and getting home. We weren't there to be like, oh, we're on the Republican warpath here. Let's go. No, or whatever.
No.
It's or whatever party it is, but nothing to do with it.
That's right.
And so sadly, that's just we can. I don't want to take that spin.
You can even see
but,
that in modern day, where I know we've got these Homeland Security and various other organizations who are now having to go into communities, clean up messes that have been made. I think ICE and all these that are being mentioned. But by the time those guys gear up and go and do, their mission, if you will, is to go and to find these people, they're not really worried about what the TV's talking about.
Sure,
they're thinking about the guys that are in the transport with me. So when we step out this transport, it's about do the job, get back in it, and go home. Yeah, because they all want to go home and visit their children too.
That's right.
But I think sometimes it gets overplayed by certain folks for certain selfish reasons, unfortunately. So I hope that's not something you've ever run into. I hope folks have always been pretty supportive of that.
I've never had any negativity about it. I always hear support the troops, not the war thing or whatever, but I've never ran into that.
Good.
I'm as patriotic as they come, man. You don't serve 23 years without being patriotic to the country.
That's right.
That also doesn't come without, doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to have my opinion about things or have a different perspective than most.
Sure.
Right. I think that's one thing that I bring to the table is because of my experiences I've been through.
Right.
I do have a different perspective on a lot of things, and in Southeast Texas, it's hard to get that breakthrough sometimes because people are so force-fed one side or force-fed one thing.
Right,
absolutely.
And they have their blinders on, and there's no way they could even care about listening to anyone else's perspective or opinion.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter, because it's not on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. So that's just the nature of the beast.
You bring real theater, information, and that I may have to adjust my narrative, and that's just on politics, man. You can see that in religion. You can see that in their people's walk of faith. They get very dogmatic about, no, I'm not changing a thing. You go, okay, and hope that works out well in the long run for you.
So how could we now in this life, in civilian life, and I mean you included in this, okay, how can we serve your brothers and sisters that are returning from service better? Because we can't make the military serve them better upon their ejection.
Sure.
But we can serve them better than we do. So how can we, as we the people, how can we serve our service members better?
And I'll be honest, man, is, civilian employment, right? I say this is the biggest thing, man. Guys get out. They got so much potential, so much leadership, and not even that, just intangible traits that companies want,
Good
and
character,
it's just
values.
hard to capture. Oh, this guy was an infantry squad leader and did 150 combat missions, right? And kicked in this many doors, captured this many bad guys, this many weapons caches, all these things. Now, how do you turn that into leadership at a company, mid-level leadership at a company, right? And so I think finding, the verbiage and the way to translate military jobs and service to civilian employment is the biggest thing, man, because there's a huge disconnect between civilian employers and what they feel like military members bring to the table, right? There's very much a disconnect, and it's almost a misinformation that of how military members are. They see military as Hollywood, as what's the show? The Marine show. Dadgummit. TBI gets the best of me sometimes, man.
I'm going back to the former
No,
politics.
yeah, that too. I was just a Full Metal Jacket, right?
Oh,
people,
yes.
people see military or Marines specifically like a Full
Yes.
Metal Jacket, boot camp, war, that thing. But they don't see they don't know the behind the scenes stuff, the leadership training they
Right.
get, the
Right.
valuable asset that they can bring to your company and
teamwork
organization.
aspect.
Right, just that. All those things, man. I have a whole list of them in my bag. But
So it seems like starting with, I guess starting, or at least somewhere near the start, the employers and maybe even guys like you coming in and go, okay,
maybe having like a workshop.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
If you're an employer, this is how this guy's going to operate.
Yes,
And if you learn to communicate with him, you'll get so much out of him.
that's right.
As opposed to trying to take this military trained person and just jam him into
Sure.
a civilian box.
That's right.
So I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so open up their mind a little bit to these new possibilities.
Because it's
you know?
rough, especially, I can imagine my younger Marines that were getting out. And throughout my career, I didn't understand what they were going through,
Yes.
right? Because I was very much still in it,
Yes.
right? And so my mission was, and it sucks because I think every leader is important to reflect what you could have done differently and to reevaluate your leadership style
Sure.
and things that you do to need to work on,
Mhm.
because leadership evolves just like the battlefield, right? And so no 2 days are the same.
Right.
No two problems are the same. And so looking back on that, I realized, I was like, man, Monday morning quarterback and not caring as much as I should have about my guys getting out.
Mm.
I was so focused and having blinders on with the mission
Mhm.
and going forward, like, oh, we got new guys coming in, getting trained up, getting ready to deploy. But I got this whole crop of guys getting out who are scared. They're going out into the world. They don't have a college degree. They've been here for 4 years. This has been their way of life. Now they've done 2 combat deployments, something at the bottom, PTSD, traumatic brain injury.
Right.
Not knowing I'm just sending them out to the wolves, because that's literally what I was doing. Man.
Wow.
And so looking back on that as a leader, I'm like, man, I wish I spent more time
Mhm.
devoted and mentoring those guys who are getting ready to get out.
Mhm.
Because when they become, they get to a certain point, they're getting ready to get out, they're kind of no longer an asset to your mission in a way,
Mhm.
right? Because they're transitioning, they're getting ready to go out. Now you got to focus all your stuff on the assets because you're getting ready to go down range.
Yes.
And so it's very easy for those guys to fall by the wayside,
Mhm.
and so
They're just marking time.
that's
at that
right.
point.
Yeah, that's right.
they're-
And so
yeah.
looking back on that, I'm like, man, I really wish I'd spent more time mentoring those guys and really fostering them to get
Right.
ready to get out in preparation
Wow.
for their transition.
And if there's folks that are listening that are, and maybe we do have some military folks that tune in that are still in active duty, and take that under advisement. Maybe read a little something,
Sure.
learn a little something. And what can you do? At least make a few deposits in their transition. And better if it's possible.
Biggest piece of advice I could give an active duty military member getting out is to have a plan. Have a plan and have a support system.
Yes.
Those 2 things are key. If you don't have a plan, and have a backup plan.
Right.
Because we know no plan survives first contact, right?
That's
So have that backup plan too.
Right.
And I think that's one thing I failed at too. I thought that things were just going to kind of fall into place.
Mhm.
They didn't.
I think exactly, and it's kind of sad to think, even in this seemingly more evolved era, that we're still having, in a sense, the Vietnam experience. Those
That's right.
guys got on planes in the late '60s and early '70s because they were done. They're coming home, and I remember one guy said, I was on a plane with 100 other guys that were coming. I didn't know a person on the plane.
Yeah.
I didn't serve with these guys, and I got off, and there was my family, and then that was it.
Right.
I changed clothes. I never put the uniform back on. And then I had no idea what to do next. I thought, man, how many stories are like that? But evidently it's still happening.
Yeah.
And so as Rob was petitioning, what can we do?
Yeah.
So I've got some ideas, and I think after the show we're going to have some discussion.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a promise to our audience that at least myself, but I'll bet Chuck will be involved in this, and maybe even Kurt. But I'm going to make the promise that if you are catching this podcast, if you see this, and yourself, member of your family, a friend, just somebody you know, is a past member of our military or someone who's about to get out, let us help. I would be honored to serve those who have served.
Yeah.
So And it's one of our things. I mean, we are all about the pursuit of purpose
Right.
and helping people discover and pursue their purpose. And I can assure you that if your purpose included serving us, serving our nation as a member of our military, your purpose is continued after that.
Right.
You have more
That's right.
to give.
Sure.
That's right.
So let us help.
That's right.
I make you the promise that if you reach out to us, help will be there.
Yes.
So thank you for your service, and thank you for allowing us to serve you.
Yeah.
But Kurt, I just, you've inspired me. I
No, you know,
wanted
hey,
to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we've had quite a few of our service members sit in that chair, all ranks, lieutenant colonel,
Sure.
all the way, you know, all different branches, all types. And I feel responsible that we must do more.
I'm on board, man. So
I have a question for you,
Yes, sir.
but it's really for the folks Rob was also presenting to. Is I know a lot of those men and women come out and they still have that servant's mentality, and it's obviously been well presented in you. What about having a receiver's mentality? Is that difficult to receive help?
yeah, it is. I wouldn't say to receive, difficult to ask.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing, because I came from an environment you don't ask for help, man.
Yeah.
You just get it done.
Right.
You know, someone gives you a mission, a job. There's no, hey, I need your help, because your team sees you need the help and they're just going to help. You know, it's automatically that's going to happen,
Right.
right? And so, but personally, when you need personal help, it's very difficult to ask for.
And that's part of the
Yeah,
problem
so-
is that your team is not standing next to you like they were when you were in service.
Right.
We're your team,
Yes.
and we can't come to your aid unless you let us.
That's right.
That's right.
So in order
And
for
you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
That's right. So if I don't know who that's going to be, obviously you had a close family, you know, your brother and them. And if you don't have that, who would you suggest that they start with? Would that be clergy? Would that be?
100%. Yeah, look at the church. Yeah, that'd be the biggest thing. I mean, that's what's helped me.
Right.
You know, obviously, like I said, my brother and stuff, but the church has just been huge for me.
Right.
And I would say that'd be the great starting
Sure.
point.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And the relationship with Jesus.
There you go. There you go. Well, and Rob and I are friends with a lot of folks in the clergy of different faiths, and it's not uncommon for us to get reached out to
Sure.
by these guys, because people come into their office and they're like, I want to be a certain role, but I'm going to send you to these guys for counseling or whatever. And so there's a good start. Find a clergy that, just knock on any door and just start the conversation. They won't be the last person. Eventually you'll end up with someone like one of the three of us, but please do.
Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough.
I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you guys for having me on, and I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
You know,
Our pleasure.
I hope that your story, especially what you've shared so far, we're not done.
Oh,
We're drawing towards the end, but we're not quite finished. But I hope that your openness and clarity in your story inspires other people that first, they're not alone.
right.
They're not unique in their experience. While you may
100%.
have unique experiences,
right.
you and your broad purpose experience is not unique. And your feelings, the way you feel, I know you've learned that other people feel the same,
Absolutely.
have felt the same, and gone through those same feelings of isolation, the feelings of
I think the isolation is the toughest part too, man, because friend-wise, it's hard for me to make friends because not so much anymore, but especially like right when you're getting out, you don't relate to anybody.
Yeah.
No one in my friend group had been through anything that I've been through.
Right.
You know, and so you're at parties and they're joking about different stuff, and you're just like kind of in the corner, like, okay, yeah, I don't feel like being here. You know what I mean? Like, and so the isolation piece is tough.
Yes.
You know, and even in church last night, we were talking about isolation being the devil. You know, when you isolate yourself like that, you have too much time to sit in your thoughts, and that's just when the devil comes out. You know?
Right.
So,
Right. Wow. That was a powerful class. That's good. Yeah.
well, I'm proud of you, proud that you're here, proud of what you've done. And I'm going to ask you a crazy question, but
Sure.
we ask every guest this. Do you consider yourself successful?
not yet. I mean, I guess it's a hard question.
You retired from 23
I know,
years
man,
of
I
service
know.
in the United
So-
States
so-
Marine Corps.
So
And you went to Washington and served.
So because I feel like it's not over, man.
Okay,
Okay.
but
You know, that's-
being successful doesn't mean it's over.
Sure. Okay.
why
okay.
don't we start with a slight alteration? What is success to you?
Honestly, it's just to be able to provide for my daughter, no more, no less, and in a comfortable manner, and for my family to be proud of me, which I know they are, and for me to leave behind a legacy of, I guess, having a servant's heart.
Okay.
To me, that'd be success, man.
So right there at the end
It's
was
just-
an ingredient, but the first two were conclusions. So what
Sure.
ingredients does it take to get those first two conclusions? For your daughter to be proud, for your family, what?
Just continue to doing the right things.
Okay.
I think continue to doing the right things and continuing to
Mhm.
pursue purpose.
Mhm.
Pursue what God has in store for me,
Mhm.
the right way.
Mhm.
Not look for, the easy road out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Well, I'm gonna deposit something into you if you'll let me. You're successful to me,
I
Yes.
appreciate it.
and the trick, if we can turn this trick, is to convince you, to help you see yourself
Sure.
in the light of success, because you're living it. It's hard to see what we're living
Mm.
in the
Yeah.
moment,
Mm.
but I would love to see you gain the freedom of understanding that you are currently living success.
Sure.
And I promise you that our audience is going to see this.
Yes.
They're not going to see you as small. They're not going to see you as a failure. They're not going to see you as anything less than success. I guarantee you.
Yes.
I would stake my life on that.
Yeah.
So
I guess as a Marine, I'm hard on myself to begin with.
Okay.
I think that's the nature of the beast is when you're in
as a
that.
man, that's
Sure.
pretty
Yeah.
typical.
Well, even as
Yeah.
Christians, we're commanded to buffet ourselves, to keep an edge on that sword. So there's nothing wrong with being hard on ourselves.
Sure.
Truly successful people are sharers at heart. They
Absolutely.
want to influence. It's not about the collecting. A lot of times folks hear that words like that because of the way our society spins it. Like, oh, I don't know. I mean, they're thinking of property and possession. That's not it.
Sure.
It's that system, which you have, by the way. So go ahead and say it. You are
What's that?
what are you?
Marine?
No, you are a successful
man.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
That's right. He is.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay. I'm a successful guy. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
But and see, success is not an achievement.
Correct.
And that's a fallacy that we build in our own minds, that
Mhm.
once I accomplish this, then I'll
Sure.
be a success. No. And that's why people, like, you'll see these like actors and actresses and big millionaires and stuff, they get depressed because they reach this pinnacle thing that they were headed towards, that they thought was going to give them the feeling of fulfillment of success, when the truth is the success was the process, and the process has to continue. It never ends.
Right.
So that's where you have to give yourself that credit,
Yeah.
that you're in the process.
Sure. That makes
Even in
sense.
the difficulties, even in the moments where you think you're failing, those are temporary defeats,
Yeah.
that they're all part of the refining process of building the life of success that you're in.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
There it
So
is.
I hope you'll accept that.
I do.
Good.
Thank you.
because to us, you're an enormous example of
Well, I
success.
appreciate it.
And I hope you'll own
Yes, sir.
that. So there's several questions that we close the show with that we'll ask you. Is there anything that you'd like to ask him as we drop to an end?
Not ask, just tell. Just a couple of comments and compliments. Isn't it interesting if you go back? We talked about your high school years, and if you go back and look at that guy, maybe we'll do that before we're done today. And there were some just seeds of components that just made the Marine Corps that much more successful for a quarter century, roughly. And now it's still happening today. So what you've done consistently, even through the rough years, when you were a little bit lost, it was still there, and you were just looking for a way to recapture it. So you're definitely an example of reclamation. You can reclaim it and repurpose it.
Yes, sir.
And here we go again. And so I'm proud of your service, both being proud of you as a father and as a Marine, first as a dad, but definitely proud that you are now presenting yourself to your community daily as this is doable.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for sharing
sure.
your story with our audience
Appreciate
today.
it.
Yes, sir, brother.
So I'm going to throw something else out there. I'm going to give a little advertisement for Kurt. If you're seeing this podcast, if you're seeing or hearing this episode, and you have a place for Kurt in your organization, I promise you this: you won't regret it.
No.
He will serve you well. He has already served you well, even though you never met him. If you are living or based in America, he has been at your service. He served for 23 years in the U.S. Marine Corps as a team player, as a leader, as a constantly growing person.
Yes.
And I can guarantee you he'll help your team. So reach out to us and let us connect you with Kurt. And if there is a place, bring him onto your team. He's worth it. Promise you that.
Absolutely.
So
Thanks, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, golly, that's amazing. So if there's somebody in the audience and they're watching this episode and they're inspired by the life of Kurt Woodard, which I promise you they are. I am. What advice might you give them? Let's say they're 16, 17 years old. They haven't signed that contract yet. They're considering joining a branch of the military or not. At that age, at that stage, what advice might you give them?
I mean, first and foremost, I think service to our country is absolutely important. Yeah, I think there's no greater selfless sacrifice that someone can make than to be willing to sacrifice their own life for people they don't know.
For sure.
And that's what you do when you sign that dotted line.
There it is.
Our country has to have warriors to keep this country free and great. You do. And that's the nature of the beast. And so I would just tell that young kid to put some really hard thought into it, because it's not an easy life. The Marines have a poster, a recruiting poster that says, "We don't promise you a rose garden." That's we don't. It's not a rose garden.
Wow. Yeah.
It's not an easy life. It is sacrifice. It is commitment. It is buy-in. It is completely changing who you are, in a way. So the commitment is so great. I would just say just put some really good thought into it and talk to people. Don't just go out on a whim and go into the recruiter's office and join. Okay.
Just 'cause the uniform
Talk
looks
to people.
cool.
It's like buying a car, right? You don't just go to the first car dealership, oh, bam, and buy it, right?
Right.
I mean, there are
Right.
people that do that, but don't do that.
Correct.
Shop around, find out what the best fit for you is,
Right.
and don't let one person persuade you into doing something that you don't want to do. That's the biggest thing. Because recruiters are good. We're salespeople for the military. Like literally, that's what we do. The Marine Corps, we go to an 8-week school where you learn communication skills, you learn professional selling skills, and then you're sent out into the country. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like if you can go into someone's house and sit their family down and convince a mom and dad to sign their son or daughter's life away to you for 4 years, you can sell anything.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I would just say be careful in that aspect, and because they're not going to take advantage of you, or they're not going to do things they're not supposed to do. But their job is to recruit you. So they're doing that in a manner to where it's a pretty hard sell.
Right.
So just I would say be careful and put a lot of thought and time and effort into it.
Good.
Into
That's
the decision.
Good. No,
That's
love
good.
It. Yeah.
So the second question, the follow-up, and it's the last question that I'll force upon you. If you could go back in time and give yourself some advice at that same age, just whisper in your own ear something that would be profound and important that might help you as the man you are, what would you say to your younger self?
Don't be afraid of opportunity.
That's a big one.
Don't be afraid to take the leap when you're scared, because it can open up some of the greatest doors you've ever imagined.
Indeed.
good.
That is good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you back that same advice now. Because you need to be whispering that in your own ear,
I know, man.
because your life right now is full of opportunities.
Yes, it is.
Your story and your journey, the steps that you're walking in, are bringing you into places of opportunity daily. And it's beautiful. You just have to see it.
Sure.
And know that you're worth it. The opportunity is yours. It's not for somebody else.
I think honestly, like you get into the rut, you know, you get into that rut and you isolate, and it's so hard. When you start coming out of that rut, it's still hard to feel, I guess, the self-worth.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm worthy. I know I'm worthy. Like I know God knows I'm worthy, you know, in my relationship with Jesus. And that's all good. You know, but at the end of the day, it's still hard sometimes to be like, you know, am I on the right? You know, am I doing the right thing here? Like,
Yeah, and isn't that part of the human experience?
sure.
I mean, we have to I think, and we coach this a lot, is for people to put certain things in place. Maybe it's a short list of reaffirmations. We do that a lot. I know Rob's done that. He's helped me with some things, and we've helped others. I said, just make about 6 things that you can say about your current self and then your next future self, and then just read them every day. After
Sure.
your prayers, read your list until it becomes autosuggestive in your mind, and then you know that about yourself. And eventually it just takes over the entire DNA. So, but why is that even a necessary product? Because of what you just said.
Sure.
We all have self-doubt. You know I do. I've had folks sit in front of me not that long ago, and I'm thinking, what in the world am I going to tell these people?
You know, and that negative narrative is powerful.
Yes.
And, you know, you mentioned the rut, and I haven't used this in a while, but you know the difference in a rut and a grave?
Rut's still alive.
No, it's just a few feet.
Fair enough.
That's the only difference in a rut and a grave.
That's
Fair
right.
enough.
Yeah,
so-
rut's just a grave with the ends kicked out.
That's right. So don't stay in the rut.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You're worth way more than that.
Indeed.
So thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing your life with us, through us, and to our audience.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you guys for having me.
We
Yes,
really
sir.
appreciate it. We've got a couple of gifts for you in parting. One of them, and I'm sure you've noticed, you are in the Vault of Purpose. That is the set that we
Yes,
use
awesome.
for the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. And within that vault, we have a very special plant that is native to this vault. It
Maybe
grows,
the only one like
it
it.
grows only here. But on that plant is actual money. And we allow our guests to pick a fruit from that tree. So
Well.
I'd like for you to take the opportunity and grab you
Oh, man.
one of the
This-
fruits
let's go right.
off of that tree, and that is
There
a
we
souvenir.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
So it's your very own
Yeah.
certified
yeah.
purpose leadership.
I love it.
And
Awesome. Thank
so
you.
there's that. And also, I'm going to have to get it after the show, but you're going to be presented with this. You're going to be the newest member of the Golden Rule Club.
Ah, okay.
You're going to have one of your very own. I apologize, but I left it in my office. But you're going to have your very own Golden Rule marble. And you can see mine, the engraving has worn down quite a bit. But written around this is the Golden Rule around the circumference. You can't read it very well anymore because of the wearing from carrying it in my pocket. But yours will be brand new.
I appreciate that.
Do you know the Golden Rule?
What's that?
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's what most people are taught is
Yes,
the
sir.
Golden Rule, right? But there's more to it than just that. It's a contract, and it has a clause, and it's do unto others as you'd have them do unto you if the roles were reversed. That's the most important part. It's the part that doesn't get spoken a lot, but it's to build empathy.
Sure.
And you are an example of empathy. You are constantly looking at, well, how's this going to impact my community? How's this going to impact another person? How's this going to help somebody else? You're living a life building it on empathy.
Yes, sir.
So it's an honor to me to welcome you into the Golden Rule Club.
I appreciate it.
And you are going to be, from this day forward, you're going to be charged with carrying this on your person as a reminder that in every endeavor you undertake to build it on that principle,
Fair enough.
which I know you will already.
Sure.
But thank you again. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
life
guys. Appreciate
with
it.
us and your journey.
Mhm.
It's been an honor.
No doubt.
Thank you guys in the audience for joining us and allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. I'm Rob,
I'm Chuck.
and we've had with us
Kurt.
the Kurt Woodard.
Kurt Woodard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank y'all, and we will talk soon.
Question everything.